Welcome back to the Pleb Underground. I hope everybody had a great weekend. We are the signal without the slop. We've got some pretty big stories to cover today. We're going to dive right into it. So, what are we looking at? South Korea opening up the door to Bitcoin? Yeah, well, we'll see. There's a Swan update, right? Swan Bitcoin. Anybody? I guess we'll see. We'll determine if it really is a Swan update per se. African fintech giant. That's right. Serving up a whole lot of Bitcoin transactions using Voltage Cloud. That's right. Lightning. Who would have thought, right? Lightning not dead. And we're going to take a look at that. And of course, what would be the daily news without a whole bunch of paper Bitcoin summer? It's actually the paper Bitcoin never ending summer. And we're going to cover some interesting happenings. Of course, there's a strategic Bitcoin reserve update and Russia's Bitcoin bank. Is that coming? Is that coming down the pipe? What's really going on there, huh? Anyways, all right, we're going to dive into all that stuff, but you know the deal. First thing, we're going to show some love to the Pleb Underground sponsor, and we are going to be right back to dive into all the ridiculousness and the fun. Here we go.
Pleb Underground is sponsored by Archimedes Emporium. Discover the pinnacle of precision engineering, starting with their Bitcoin logo wall clock, meticulously machined in Maine from a solid block of aerospace-grade aluminum, ensuring unparalleled durability and performance. Experience the difference of a product made without compromise. Head on over to Archimedes Emporium.
All right, let's dive right into it. So, South Korea to recognize Bitcoin and crypto businesses as venture firms, granting access to tax breaks and financing support. Asia getting prepared. These are actually kind of some of my favorite posts, right? So they got the Bitcoin logo on the side, right? So that's right away the focus inside our heads. Yeah, South Korea reportedly lifting restrictions that have prevented crypto businesses from qualifying as venture companies. Now, let's take a look here for why are they doing this, right? Why would you create this friendlier environment? So, the crypto industry in South Korea has benefited from the friendlier environment after the election of President Lee Jae-myung in June, including a bill to legalize stablecoins. Oh my gosh. We're calling it paper Bitcoin summer, but it's really never-ending stablecoin summer. And maybe we'll just rebrand it to that. So yeah, cryptocurrency market in South Korea is projected to reach a revenue of $1.1 billion in 2025. I hate to break it to anyone, but this is not Bitcoin stuff. This is just shitcoining. Anyways, according to an online data platform, Statista, and they're going to grow that to 1.3 billion by 2026. Slap a Bitcoin logo on it. It just sounds a whole lot better. Okay. Anyways, moving on from the South Korea news, let's dive into the Swan Bitcoin update. Okay, so here we go. Interesting post here from Magoo. Right, it appears that the customers of Swan and other customers of Prime Trust are being sued in order to claw back assets they were withdrawn in the final days. Now, I did post a link to the PDF document that shows exactly who the plaintiffs are, who the defendants are. So look, based on what I read, I actually cannot confirm that any Swan customer per se has had any kind of clawbacks done. So anybody, if there's any viewers or listeners of this show that are Swan customers that did actually receive some type of a letter indicating that there would be funds clawed back, I'd really like to speak to you. But I was looking through the list, right? Because the entire list of names, you can see there's a bunch of companies, there's a bunch of individuals, and you're taking a look at, I'm looking at the stack sizes, and I got to be honest, it all, in my eyes, it just seems like people who were stacking sats. So maybe, right? Maybe there is some truth to this, but I'd be more inclined to think it is the Prime Trust customers or direct Prime Trust customers. I do recall Swan putting out messaging saying that they were the ones that actually covered the withdrawals on their end. So anyways, we're going to see where this goes. I know that Magoo loves to take pot shots at Swan. I do too. I'm not blaming him. You take pot shots at everybody. But I don't think that this is actually going to affect any Swan customers, although I would be pretty worried if I was a direct Prime Trust customer. I guess the one thing we can say is that in hindsight, it was obviously some fairly poor decision making in choosing Prime Trust as their custodian. Anyways, all right, moving on from the Swan stuff. Let's go into a little bit more bullish things, right? A little bit more bullish stuff. All right, so Chipper Cash. Never heard of Chipper Cash, but I like the name. It's got a good ring. Got a nice ring to it. Has hit a major milestone. Over 50% of all Bitcoin transactions on the platform now run on Lightning. Wait a second. Bitcoin transactions on Lightning. The reason why I'm emphasizing this is because I saw some ridiculous FUD today from somebody that claimed that Bitcoin that using Lightning is not actually Bitcoin. Now, look, I get that people want to make a point, right, and try to make like this hyperbolic type of stance, right? That all of a sudden just, oh my gosh, the Bitcoin that's in Lightning channels is not Bitcoin, guys. It is. Take the time to learn how Lightning works. Lightning is a 2 of 2 multisig. Okay, it's a hash time lock. It's all Bitcoin. All of it is Bitcoin. Anyways, African fintech giant serving millions is using Voltage Cloud to deliver payments. One of the most successful real-world Lightning deployments to date. All right, hey, look, good stuff. They're using the tools. Shout out to Voltage Cloud. And I think we've got, Nate Beef or Bacon works for them. Anyways, it's good stuff. It's good stuff to see the global South using Bitcoin. Strange though, because what's been pushed, what sometimes gets pushed, is that the global South can actually afford to use Bitcoin. Right? Apparently, the global South can't afford to use Bitcoin, and yet we're seeing more and more evidence that the global South, number one, doesn't need stable coins necessarily. Number two, Bitcoin Cash and all that crap is pretty useless down there. Number three, it looks like Bitcoin is actually fulfilling the use cases there. So, yeah, good luck to the shitcoiners on that one. Anyways, moving on from that, we are going to take a look. All right, let's go into the paper Bitcoin summer. Here we go. Okay, CPOP. CPOP adds 33 million in Bitcoin. The treasury move spurs a 56% stock spike, then pullback. Okay, so let's just go. You know that I had no choice but to do this, right? Pop culture group. This pattern seems familiar once again, doesn't it? We've got the ye olds, right? Ye old down and to the right. Nice big pump and dump and complete flat line. And then around July 2024, maybe August 2024, who knows? No, actually, it was October. And take a look, right? October 2023. I'm bad with my timelines. A 1-for-10 stock split. So if you don't remember, right? Essentially, what happens is that for every what is it? For every 10 shares that you have, they're giving you just 1. So that's not good stuff. That's definitely not good stuff. But wait, there's more. Pop Culture Group stock overview. Here we go. Pop Culture Group hosts entertainment events to corporate clients in China. All right. Has less than 1 year of cash runway. No surprise there. Earnings have declined by 62% per year over the past 5 years. There's a winner, right? They're going to be able to afford to hold Bitcoin into perpetuity. Come on. Oh, stupid. Shareholders have been substantially diluted over the past year. No way. And whatever. The high volatile price, I don't really care about at all. Yeah, the price just whatever. Doesn't mean anything. Now, let's go take a look at another one, right? Another one. This one's doing a pretty good, I'd say this one is doing a pretty good trick over here. It is the, is it EPMD or Prenetics? Oh, I think it's Prenetics. Let's go take a look at that one. right? NASDAQ listed healthcare diagnostics company Prenetics holds 228 Bitcoin and buys 1 Bitcoin daily as part of its corporate treasury strategy. Now, I do appreciate this, right? Hey, they're buying 1 Bitcoin. Hopefully, they can afford to hold this Bitcoin, right? That's, to me, that's the key. I don't care how much they buy. The key for me is how much can you actually hold? So let's go take a look at this chart. Yeah. This one is also got that similar pattern, doesn't it? I don't know why they all look like this. I don't get it. Anyways, this is a very interesting stock split circus over here. They did a 1,289 shares for 1,000 split, reverse splits, okay? And then they did a 1 for 15. So effectively, if you own these shares from the time that they actually IPO'd back in just before 2021, yeah, you're sitting on 90% plus losses, even though it's sitting at like $90 a share. Sorry, at $9 a share. It's great. It's great they're buying Bitcoin. I hope their business can last and they can afford to actually hold the Bitcoin that they bought and that they aren't just using this for a publicity stunt. Anyways, all right, moving on from Prenetics. Let's go take a look at, oh, you know what? Here's another one, EPMD, right? We actually took a look at these guys last week as well. Yeah, so these guys are doing something a little bit different, right? They're doing a buyback of 2 million shares. Now, they've got, according to Yahoo Finance, they've got 48 million shares outstanding. Okay, so when they did a buyback of 2 million, it's not bad, right? It does show confidence in their shares if they are indeed confident about their shares. I have unfortunately seen businesses do share buybacks as, you know, a parlor trick, just to bring attention. So we will have to see, right? We will have to see if this is, you know, if this is something real. And let's go take a look at their chart just for the sake of it. Empery Digital Inc. Okay, yeah, this is a brand new company, and they haven't really started to do very much. So we're gonna have to wait and see with these guys. But here, let's take a look. I always do monthly charts because I don't want to waste my time with the noise. But here, if you want to see what the like the weekly looks like on this thing. Anyways, it's gonna find a floor. It's gonna find a floor at some point. Okay. All right, moving on. Blackrock. That's right. BlackRock is going to tokenize ETFs and put them on the blockchain. And once again, boom, Bitcoin logo. it's great. We slap the Bitcoin logo, put BlackRock right next to it. Hey, everything is good for Bitcoin, right? Right. Let's dive into it a little bit. JP Morgan. Oh, we all know how much Jamie Dimon loves Bitcoin. Loves Bitcoin. JP Morgan has called tokenization a significant leap. That's right. Not Bitcoin. Bitcoin is not the significant leap, right? Censorship resistant ledger, that's not the significant leap. But JP Morgan being able to issue assets out of thin air, now that is a significant leap, isn't it? All right. For the $7 trillion money market fund industry, pointing to the initiative launched by Goldman Sachs and Bank of New York Mellon, spoiler alert, none of these businesses are using any of the shitcoins that you think they are. They're building their own crap. Bank of New York Mellon hired their own programmers to build their own blockchain and to build all of their own tools. Who would have thought they weren't going to use the shitcoins and just make their own? We're surprised. I know Bitcoiners are surprised. I'm definitely surprised. BNY clients will gain access to money market funds with share ownership registered directly on whose private blockchain? Not mine. It's Goldman's private blockchain. Sweet. Right? Isn't that nice? One big happy family, right? All in the gated community. Fun. I appreciate that. I really do. Let's see what else we had about BlackRock. Okay. Nothing else on BlackRock. Let's move on. Okay, so here let's take a look at the Russia stuff. Right? Look at the Russia stuff. Here we go. So, guys may have seen something like this. right? Russia to launch a state-owned Bitcoin and crypto bank. And of course, it seems plausible, right? Because we know about the sanctions against Russia. So it all seems like it, could be real. Let's dive into it. Let's figure out exactly what is happening here. So Russia could consider, they could consider a crypto bank to combat fraud. Huh. Let me go back. Go back and just take another look. Could, and to launch, a little bit different. A little bit different messaging, isn't it? Not surprised. Not surprised. Okay. Anyways, Russia needs to own a crypto-enabled bank that could help combat illicit transactions and support miners by providing infrastructure for them to cash out their earnings. Russia's not doing anything. Russia's not doing anything. But hey, you're going to slap a Bitcoin logo on it. Everybody gets happy, right? Everybody's thrilled. Okay. So let's move on here to our last topic. The infamous SBR. I appreciate Bitcoin News, by the way, actually saying the real thing, right? Granted, I could, I can say that it's done for, it's done for attention. However, I do appreciate the truthfulness of it. So strategic Bitcoin reserve not listed as an immediate priority in a document sent to the Republican lawmakers by the Trump admin. If you are surprised by this, I'm really sorry, but that means that you've been listening to a lot of BS from a whole bunch of cheerleaders. That's all there is to it. There's absolutely nothing. There's absolutely nothing else to it. Okay. Look, yeah, exactly. Right. Shocking, isn't it? I'm not shocked either. It's such nonsense. But look, now why does this matter? Okay, because it does, and I'll explain why. So if you are not building your own conviction, if you are not figuring out why Bitcoin is important to you, then that means you're going to lean on other people for your conviction. Right? You're going to look to somebody else. And there's nothing inherently wrong with looking to somebody else that may have more intimate knowledge than you, more experience than you, but it doesn't mean that they become your oracle, right? You don't make them into an oracle, the seers of truth in the future. That's not what's happening. Okay? Because what ends up happening in that situation, if you place too much confidence in these people and what they have to say, then guess what? They become your hopium crutch. Okay. And when you end up with a hopium crutch, believe it or not, at some point you start to look at all the news and you start to look at all the really high level happy FUD about Bitcoin. And you wonder to yourself, wait a second, why do I keep seeing all this amazing news that everyone's buying Bitcoin and yet the price just isn't doing anything? What's wrong with it? And again, if you didn't build up your own conviction and you don't understand why you're holding Bitcoin, you're going to be a seller. You are going to become a seller of Bitcoin at the worst times because you are going to end up fudding your own bags because you believed in all of these cheerleaders. It's that simple. And the reason why I can say this with confidence is because I fell for that. It doesn't mean that everyone's going to fall for that. I have my own levels of stupid. This is what I fell for, right? Because I did not build my own conviction initially. And it taught me. And so I did. And now I can sit here confidently and be like, yep, I'm not listening to these idiots. So anyways, guys, that was a lot of fun. That was the episode for today. Don't forget tonight we've got our live roundtable. As it, you think to yourself, Phil, how could there be anything else to talk about? There always is. This is Bitcoin. There's always something else to talk about. We've got absolutely awesome topics, should piss everybody off, but also at the same time be extremely entertainment. It is going to be 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Yes, I actually gave the time this time. Last time I didn't. Anyways, I hope you guys will all join us, myself, Sir Ulrich, and Humble Bitcoiner. It's going to be a lot of fun. And actually, okay, one last thing, because I was told I was allowed to announce this. You guys know I am friends with TC, Mr. Time Chain Calendar, and he has been working on it. Okay, so he has a website, Time Chain Calendar, right? Timechaincalendar.com, where he does the, it's the circles, right? All the circles that talk about Bitcoin and all the good stuff. So guess what? He's made it into an official app, and I am allowed to announce it. So therefore I will. We're also going to have TC on the show this Friday. That's right. He's going to talk to us about everything about this app, and we're going to discuss a whole bunch of chicken butt. I don't know. We're it looks like I lost connection there for a second. You gotta love it when that happens. All right, let's try showing the screen one more time. There you go, guys. There it is. The Time Chain Calendar app available on iOS and Google Play. That's right. Download it now. Made by a fellow Bitcoiner for Bitcoiners. Amazing info right there, right? It's got a bunch of concentric circles. And guess what? They tell you pretty much everything you need to know about what's going on in Bitcoin right now. And he also has an awesome gallery of all these different Bitcoin artists. Anyways, guys, that does it for today. I'll see you this evening, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We're going to have some fun. Have a great rest of the day. Peace.